Welcome back. It's Down the Line, episode 8. I'm Trey Scott.
I'm Ryan Pittman.
And let's get down to it. We're at the end of the season. We got one more week to go. Then we got playoff baseball, playoff softball. Before we get in there, we couldn't do our shows without our sponsors. Ryan, who we got?
Yeah, Mark Herring Law, Lions Industries for the Blind, Blizzard Contract Flooring, and Plaza del Mariachi Mexican Restaurant.
Amen. Let's get it. Big Easter tournament this past weekend.
Yes.
Multiple teams. We were able to see the DBC Easter tournament at Granger Stadium. Green Central was playing at Guy Smith Stadium in Greenville. APA was playing at Tarboro.
Yeah.
I don't know
that. We're going to call it the Tarboro Easter Classic. That's what we're going to call it.
There we go. All right, let's go ahead and recap the first one. The first team that we watched was South Lenore. They went 2-1. They're 15-3 on the season, and man, I was highly impressed. They beat a North Duplin team for the third time this year, 13-2. But the big game was the 12-11 win over CBA Cock after being down 8-1 in the first inning.
Yeah, look, I wrote them off. I ain't gonna lie. I told Vicky that too. I was following on Game Changer because this game happened Monday, so Fortunately, we're not on spring break this week. I know your kids are, but I had to work, and so I was, catching up on it. I saw they were down like 8-0.
Yeah.
I think they gave up 8 runs in the first inning, and I was like, man, I said, CBA Cox's good. It is what it is. They're going to have a bounce back game against Rosewood, and then I saw your post that they won 12-11, and I was just like wow. What? That was crazy. So.
And then, unfortunately, they did drop one. They dropped one to Rosewood 6-3. It was a very competitive game, and shout out to Rosewood. Rosewood was a very good team. They're a small 1A school.
We saw them twice.
Yeah, but just because they were 1A didn't mean nothing, man. Them boys came to play ball. They were small ball. They bunted. They stole bases. They hit the ball. They pitched well. Each pitcher that we saw pitched lights out.
Yep.
Did they go undefeated? I don't know.
No, I think they lost to East Duplin. I think Kern from East Duplin beat them on Monday. So, but, still, like you said, a very, strong performance with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, then to the next team, 13-7, North Lenore went 1-2. It definitely was a disappointing stretch for the Hawks. The first game was 11-2 loss to Rosewood that we just talked about. Very good team. They came out, pitcher was lights out, and they were hitting the ball. Hawks didn't get on the board until we seen the Garrett Bird bomb in the fourth inning. And then the next game, they beat North Duplin 7-3. And then another disappointing loss, 13-3 at Southern Wayne. We'll talk more about the Hawks, coming forward, but that's what happened with the Hawks. Then down the road, down to Greenville, Green Central picked up 2 wins. 7-2 win over Beargrass, which is another small 1A school, but they're very good. They're top ranked. They're in the top 3 in all the polls. Then they picked up a exciting 6-5 win over Roanoke Rapids, Green Central Surgeon. Then APA stepped up and played some big time teams. Hornet Central, I heard they got I know they got an ECU commit. My Uncle AB told me about the other one. I can't remember, but they got 2 D1 commits.
I was hearing rumors about a Clemson commit.
Okay.
I'm not taking anything away from. I heard it was the catcher. He needs to step his game up if he's going to Clemson. Bouncing the ball back to the pitcher, during what was. Yeah, so I don't know. That's the rumor. But Hornet Central had a really good team.
Yeah. And then they played Southwest Escom, which is a team that we're very familiar with. Green Central's already lost to them twice this year, and very, very good team. And they showed it. They shut them out 10-0. Parker Gay's one of the best pitchers in the state, threw a no-hitter against APA, and honestly, it don't matter who Parker Gay's going against. He's going to ball out. And so, that is good competition for APA to see before they go into the playoffs. I'm sure they're a better team now going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what Coach Kravitz does. He likes to do. This is the second year that I've been covering. Second year they've played in Tarboro. Last year they played some really good teams. That Hornet Central game, I know it's 8-4. I was there. APA gave up 2 home runs. Two-run shots. That's the difference in this game. But they fought, man. They had the bases loaded. Hornet Central did 2 or 3 times. I think it was the 4th and the 5th inning, and Parrott gets out of it, without allowing a run. But it was you kind of want to see him take. Would like to see him take a win in one of those 2 games. But like I said, Coach Kravitz, he knows what he's doing, man. I told you earlier, he will forget more about high school baseball than anybody in this vicinity right here will ever know. So I trust Coach Kravitz and excited to see them. But Trey, I got a question for you.
All right, let's get to it.
You saw South Lenore a couple times this
Yeah.
week. You've seen them a bunch this year. I don't know why you do this to yourself, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are they legit?
Man, I've seen a couple of things that, help turn this question in many ways. Because I've questioned South Lenore's – I don't want to sound too harsh on them because they've been playing great this year. Mm-hmm. I've questioned their fight. And the only reason I say that, so, like, if we get up here and we're say North Lenore's playing bad, North Lenore's going to come out the next game and give it to us.
Yeah,
and that is not what it's all about. But I feel like they got that edge, and I haven't seen that edge from South Lenore. But this past week, it was it. I seen it, and they play great ball, man. They play great ball. I like what I saw on the diamond. All around good team game. This was the team I've been waiting to see, which I like and no shots at them at all. I've just been waiting to see a couple key things that makes me want to say, okay, this is a top contending team.
Yeah.
And I seen it. And a big name that stuck out with me, we know the Jake Howards, we know the Gage Howards, we know who Matthew Tadpole is. The big name that really stepped up, and it was all phases of the game, Austin Clements.
Yep.
Sophomore Austin Clements, man, 7 for 7, 6 RBIs, threw 3 walks. Not only that doesn't get shown in the stat book. Behind the plate, he was great. He was great. No, whoever ran on him, he was going to throw at him.
Yep.
Whether he got him or not, and I know he's got about 3 or 4 of them, but he's dangerous back there. He's very dangerous. I thought he blocked the ball very well. Then on top of that, when he pitched, this is the pitcher I've been waiting to see. This is the second pitcher where I've been asking, who is South Lenore's second guy? Who is it? I feel like this is it. This is the answer. I finally I finally seen what I wanted to see, which doesn't mean nothing besides an opinion, which we all have them. But I like what I seen. Another thing, I like what I seen. Look, I went to school for exercise physiology. I love kids that hit the weight room. I love kids that buy in. Look at his thighs.
Yeah.
Look at this kid's thighs, sophomore. They're this thick.
Yeah.
The kid lifts weights, and he takes it serious. You can tell, and that transfers to sports. It transfers to baseball. I love what I seen from all around.
Yeah, shout out to Braden Barnett.
Oh, yeah.
He pitched really well for him in this tournament as well. But, yeah, Austin, he was starting pitcher against North Duplin. Took care of business. Braden come right in. But Braden had a big – I don't have his stat line right in front of me, but he had a big tournament at the plate as well. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you.
And look, going back to the weight room, Braden Barnett is another kid that's been in the weight room.
Yep.
I seen it during the basketball season when he had the basketball jersey. I was like, oh, he's got some traps, some buys, some tries. Hey, I love it, man. Go after it. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, South Lenore is legit. I expect a good playoff run. I expect a deep playoff run. Everybody has to come together. As long as they play mistake-free baseball, they will win a lot of games. All right, moving on. Is North Lenore okay, Ryan? This is a question that that we talked about side by side. Is North Lenore okay right now? This is
so there's like a game. I don't know if you ever heard yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say maybe so.
Okay.
I don't think they're. When you ask, are they okay? I'm not gonna say yes. I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna say maybe so. They won 9 straight games. They got off to a rough start at the beginning of the season, and they roll off 9 straight. They beat South Lenore at South Lenore. Then they have lost 4 of the last 6. They went 1-2 in this tournament. There's something missing. I saw 2 of the games. Saw the game Saturday afternoon. Saw the game Tuesday night. I expected them to handle Southern Wayne, a team they beat at the start of the season 9-1. They lose 13-3. And it was I don't even know what the score was, but I mean it was a Garrett Bird, home run in that game as well, kind of like Rosewood that got them going. They score a couple runs. There's something missing. I don't know what it is. When I'm not in that program, a day-to-day basis. I can't pretend like to know exactly what it is. But when you look at that team on the field, when you look at that team communicating with each other in the dugout, they're missing something. What it is, I don't know. However, they got to figure it out. They play James Keenan next Tuesday at home.
Yep.
And they beat James Keenan, I think, 17-0 already. James Keenan's at the bottom of the conference standings. And then they've got a really big matchup next Thursday.
Yep.
So whatever's happening, whatever's going on. I think they will be fine. So I'm gonna say maybe so. I'm not gonna say no, they're not okay, or yes, they are okay, because they're definitely not okay. I mean, there's something going on, but I think they get it back on track.
Two things I want to add into that, man. And I say this after looking at the great players that we've seen last year. Man, we got to cherish when we see great players like we're seeing with Garrett Bird. He's balling, man. He's I won't call him a generational talent because we're just waiting to see what's the next step. I don't want to boost his head up too much, but he is freaking great, man.
Yeah.
I talked to you. It was Rosewood game.
Yep.
And I saw them finally catching up to it. I said, he's probably about to hit one right here.
You sure did. You were fumbling with the phone trying to get it.
I was trying to record.
You were fumbling with that phone trying to get it, and it was
first pitch.
Perfect.
Bing, bing, it was gone. I mean, he's been great. He's been great on the mound as well. He's been really fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching him the last 4 years, and not even just this year. But another little shout-out I want to throw in there, the freshmen don't get a lot of love, man. I love seeing Dan Boyette pitch. We were right behind the plate. He did give up a solo bomb, but, man, his pitches and his movements were North's got something.
Freshman, right?
Yep, freshman. North's got something. All right. One more question. What we got?
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you this, Green Central man.
Yes, sir.
Is Green Central surging at the right time?
All right, like you said, I'm Green Central man, and I'm proud. I'm proud, and just as I come up here and say I'm proud, I also gave them crap when they showed up on senior night at home against Farmville Central and didn't show up.
Yep.
So to see them bounce back from that, winning 8 of the last 9 games, going to the Easter tournament, taking care of business, because right now is important. Our last show, we talked about RPI. Our last show, we talked about how every single inning right now is very, very important. And right now they're taking care of business. Won 8 of the last 9 games. We know like we said with North Lenore and South Lenore, we know what we're getting out of Riley Raffer. We know what we're getting out of Will Raffer. We know what we're getting out of those seniors and that right there. But the biggest thing that sticks out right here is the 3 freshmen that has been on the mound. Sutton Harris, Austin Oliver, and Logan Burris have 19 appearances, and they have a combined 6-3 record, and that's huge. Losing 2 of the best pitchers in the state last year, somebody had to step up.
Yep.
I didn't know it was going to be coming from the middle school, and that's
true. Yeah.
That's big. That's been big for the program, and it's a bright. It's a bright future ahead for the Rams. We're going to see how they're going to finish in the season as well. What they take on in the playoffs. Winning 8 of the last 9 games is a great start to go into the playoffs. So they are surging at the right time. Proud to be a Ram. Glad they're getting it back together. I was a little worried mid-season, but Coach Brand has been taking care of business. Good job, Rams. All right, let's talk about some
private school
playoffs, man.
We promised the people.
we promised.
We're men of the people,
and we're still a little confused.
Yeah. The only one, and I'll start off with Bethel. I talked to Coach Ashley Stroud. Talked to Coach Kenny. We saw Coach Kenny out at the East tournament here at Granger. But that game last week for the boys, Bethel against Greenville Christian, it was massive. That locked up the number 1 seed in the East for Bethel. So they're going to have home field advantage up until the semifinals. The semifinals are played at Wilson Christian, which is kind of a neutral site, unless you're from Wilson Christian. When I not say neutral site, but traveling for the teams. But their first game will be against a team from the West. And my understanding, it will be, since they are the number 1 seed, it will be a higher seed from the West. And that will be next Friday, May 2nd. And then they will play again. If they win, they will play again that next week. And then Friday, Saturday is the semifinals and the state championship game at Wilson Christian. And I expect to see that Bethel team in Wilson.
So for the casual fans, the NCHSAA, which is the public schools, they play 32 teams on the East.
Yeah.
They play it out, and the top of the East meets the 32 teams winner of the West, and they play in the championship East versus West.
Yeah.
Right here, no. Right here, we're just let's throw it all in there.
Yeah,
let's throw it all in a pot, and this is what we got.
Yeah, and for the girls, so they lost to Wilson Christian during the regular season. But they secured the 2nd seed in the East. Now, their playoffs, they don't have home games. They're going to play the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the championship game at Wilson Christian, and that will be May 8th, 9th, and 10th. So they will be matched up with the 3 seed from the West. Like I said, it's crazy. Coach Stroud, he was explaining it to me, and I think he thought he was speaking, a foreign language to me because I was just sitting there grinning, just smiling like, yeah, okay. And then he had to text it to me, but appreciate that, Coach Stroud. But, the girls, we saw them last year going to Wilson. I think, both of us were there. The girls got a good team. They probably won't have to face Wilson Christian until the championship. If they get there, I know I'm putting the cart way in front of the horse here. But they've got a lot of time off. They're on spring break this week. I think they do have another game, a scrimmage or, they've got something just to try to keep the girls informed. But, that's where Bethel stands right now.
All right. What about on the other side of the town over there with the Patriots?
Yeah, so talking to Coach Kravitz, they should make the postseason. The guys probably going to be 12 to 16 seed, but more than likely they're going to be on the road to start. When I was asking Coach Kravitz about it, like I said, the man knows a lot. He's been in it, but he, it was tough. He's like, it's a chaotic thing. And for the girls, not really sure. Tried to dig a little bit into that. Maybe they made the playoffs. I know they've only won 2 or 3 games this year, but like I said, I wish it was like the NCHSAA where, it's like based off RPI or you're conference winner, everything like that. But there's a lot that goes into it, so time will tell.
And I don't have it written down here, but I do want to give shout-outs to Jones Senior softball. They didn't play softball and baseball. They're fighting for their playoff spot right now. Yep. They're on the bubble, both teams. But they both got a key win against Southside. They both walked it off against Southside last Thursday, so it's a big win.
I mean, we talked about it in the show. Our show was Thursday before that. They needed those wins.
Yep.
They both teams needed those wins, and I know they didn't hear us because they played before the show came out. But
right.
They must have heard us in spirit because
they know it.
They come out and both of them got huge wins. So shout out to the kids down there in Jones County and Trenton.
All right, let's move on to our home run kings and queens. We got a new leader, but it's still the same school, just a different sport, I guess it is. But Garrett Bird, he's leading the way with 6 home runs, and everybody else is pretty much the same, but I still run it off because you earned it. Maddie Rouse, 4 home runs. Jayla Ross, 3 home runs. Lakin Whitley, 3 home runs. Jake Howard, 2 home runs. Carter Chadwick, 2 home runs. Peyton Plyler, 2 home runs. Callie Tyndall, 2 home runs. Rylan Wade, 2 home runs. Petey Wiggins, 2 home runs. Riley Rafford, 2 home runs. Then the one solos guys, the Matthew Rose, 1 home run. Riston Honeycutt, 1 home run. Mason Dillon, 1 home run. Chloe Cole, tongue-tied, 1 home run. Carly Boone, 1 home run. Jay Sassonet, 1 home run. Lily Turner, Bethel Christians, 1 home run. Sydney Myers, 1 home run. Callie Tenderson, 1 home run. Tanner Outlaw, 1 home run. Christian Couples, 1 home run. Braden Cash, 1 home run. And last but never least, Cole Harris with 1 home run. And Ryan, that's all I got for you this episode. Anything you want to add in?
That's it.
Give a shout out to our guys to make this show possible, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry.
Congrats
to the home run kings and queens. But thank you to Mark Heron Law, Lions Industries for the Blind, Blizzard Contract Flooring, and Plaza del Mariachi Mexican Restaurant.
And next week, we have the matchup.
Yep.
North Lenore versus South Lenore. Whether it's on the softball or on the baseball side, it's huge games. And we're going to have great coverage for you guys. Hey, I'm Trey Scott.
I'm Ryan Pittman.
See you next episode.